Here we have the aggregate demand curve, and as we can see, it is downward sloping, but we would like to discuss why is it downward sloping. And that means that we need to discuss what our axes are. So we can see that on the x-axis, we have real GDP, and on the y-axis, it's price level. So what this is saying to us is that price level and real GDP have some sort of negative relationship here. And if we wanted to look a little bit closer at it, we can see that as real GDP increases, this is associated with a decrease in price level. Whereas if we look at it in the opposite direction, if price level were to increase on us, we would see this decrease in real GDP. And this goes along with most theories of demand in the sense that as prices go up, people receive less and less utility for the quantity of that item that they're purchasing. Or in other words, people may not be able to afford as much at that high price level. So let's compare something. Let's say that we're working with shoes, Say that I can afford a $50 pair of shoes, and I would be really happy to buy that, and maybe I buy 5 pairs of shoes throughout the year. However, if that price were to increase to say $75 a pair, then maybe I'm only going to purchase 2 pairs of shoes per year. So what you would be able to see here is that demand would be downward sloping. Price goes up, I purchase less. Price goes down, and I purchase more. And this goes along with really any theory of demand that we know, that it's always going to be downward sloping. So it makes sense that when we're looking at it on this grand scale of aggregate demand, it's really just taking into account all of these smaller instances and putting them into one. So this real GDP, this total output of final goods within the economy, is likely to be negatively related to a higher price level. And that's simply, like I showcased in just this little example right here, it just comes down to the accumulation, this aggregate formation of all of the smaller decisions that are made day to day. So we're taking this microeconomic concept and now looking at it at a macroeconomic level. And the theories really remain the same. We just have to understand the differences in our variables, real GDP compared to just quantity demanded, and price level as compared to just an individual price. But the idea, the concept remains the same.